Hello and Happy New Year from the Radical Road above the Scottish Parliament. I'm Roisin McLaren and with my colleague Colin Fox, we're the national co-spokespersons of the Scottish Socialist Party.
This time last year we were reflecting in our New Year's message about the fact that the Tories had won another general election victory despite having no mandate here in Scotland. Roll forward a year and of course 2020 will be remembered not for that, it'll be remembered for COVID that led to an economic meltdown and restriction in our civil liberties not seen in peacetime.
Our desire for this tragedy to be over must also be coupled with the reality that we are not there yet.
1.8 million people across the world died of COVID-19. Some 72,000 of those deaths in Britain alone.
And when I reflect on the year that we've just been through, I think in particular of the thousands of Scots who lost their lives in our privately run residential care homes.
Residential care homes we knew way before the pandemic began weren't fit for purpose, took lives of people not looked after properly in circumstances where they shouldn't have died, and they died what would be regarded as poor deaths on their own, not properly cared for, without the solace of their loved ones, their family, beside them in their final hours. But I'm also bound to say that I'm proud this year of the Scottish Socialist Party's contribution in our campaign for a national care service, which to me is the most fitting reply to the circumstances we found in our care homes. We want a national care service and have been campaigning at the forefront for it.
A care service that is free at the point of need, publicly owned and run, just like our National Health Service. The creation of such a care service would be a fitting response to this tragedy. Justice is needed for those who died and for their families. Take care services out of private, profit-driven hands and ensure that this can never happen again.
And we look forward in the weeks to come to the Scottish Government's independent review and pursuing that case for a national care service as the appropriate response. And the two other things that I'm sure struck you is looking back in 2020, bringing Brexit to an end, a 4.5 year long political saga. And I look back in those 4.5 years and feel the Scottish Socialist Party's view was vindicated, because whether you liked it or not, Brexit was always going to happen. The 2016 result had to be respected. And the Scottish Socialist Party didn't buy into the illusions in the EU or in the idea that that vote should or would be overturned. 2021 gives us the opportunity to put Brexit behind us in the independence movement and concentrate on something far more important that we've not given enough attention to, which is the economic case for independence, the economic case for self-government, the economic case for self-determination.
We need independence, because only an independent country can control its economy. To create a society where you're not just bounced from one casualised and low-paid job to another, where we have environmentally friendly, decent public housing and good public services, where the rich pay their share, and where our country's many assets are owned by us for the benefit of all.
Because the weakness in our case is what lost us the last referendum in 2014, and we have to do better. We have to realise, of course, also, there's not a majority in Scotland for a second referendum. We also have to recognise the obstacle. Boris Johnson has said, and Westminster have made it clear they're not going to give us a second referendum. So these are big challenges for the independence movement to consider, discuss and overcome. But the biggest of them remains the fact that the Sustainable Growth Commission policy of the SNP is certainly a suicide note as far as the independence movement is concerned. We're not going to win a second referendum in independence with that note in front of the people of Scotland, in effect promising them 10 years of austerity, 10 years of cuts, a race to the bottom that sees our share of wealth in this country reduced to somehow enter a competition with other nations. The Scottish Socialist Party won't buy into that strategy. We don't have any confidence in the idea that that's the prospectus that wins you the next referendum campaign, because it isn't. Andrew Wilson's Sustainable Growth Commission is a right-wing economic blueprint, could have been written by George Osborne. And the fact of the matter is, working class people want to see independence about change, not sustaining the current inequalities, not sustaining the current exploitation. And the idea that get independence first and leave all the details till later on, it won't wash. Independence is about changing all of that, getting rid of the inequalities to make sure that working class people in Scotland are economically, socially, politically, democratically better off. That's what it's all about.
That independence, an independent socialist Scotland, a modern democratic republic, will not occur without us fighting for it. So our 2021 message is, if that's the sort of country you want to see, roll up your sleeves, join in, join us, Scotland's Socialist Party. Make that your New Year's resolution.